because I kind of have to barricade myself almost, not really, in my house because it's the flu season. So I can't go out and do as much, and of course I have less energy when the cold season comes. So this is going to be my introduction video. I have what is called MECFS. Now this is the current name that people have been using a lot, but it always is changing. So the full name for that is myalgic, see, I have to write it down, myalgic encephalomyelitis / chronic fatigue syndrome. So a lot of people don't like to just say chronic fatigue syndrome because it encompasses way more than just being chronically fatigued. So, and so they like to include the myalgic encephalomyelitis, whatever. I'm terrible at saying that. But I know the myalgic is like muscle pain. And the E word, the encephalomyelitis, is like spinal cord swelling a bit. Some like, it has a lot to do with the brain fog and stuff. So anyway, I'll spare that for another video. But I just figured I'd tell how I came to be where I'm at today. So, many years ago, I don't like to think of how the number is because I hate thinking that I've been sick for this long. But I was, okay, I'll say 2009, at the end of 2008, I got really sick. And I just finished my second to last semester for college, and I was like, it was over the Christmas break, and I was extremely sick. Like, I got like a sore throat that just wouldn't go away for a week, and then I had a lot of stomach pains, and then I ended up in the ER, and because I have IBS, would have had IBS I was diagnosed when I was like 19, so it's been way before I got this disease. But, so, yeah, then I ended up in the ER with, like, can't keep any fluids down. I'd lost a lot of weight over the week, and they found out that I had, strep throat. And, no. Okay, I'm terrible at this story. They found out, they just diagnosed me with, like, stomach pains, gastroenteritis. And so I went home, and I was on, like, fluids and, like, stuff like that, and anti-nausea medicine. And, like, a week later, I still wasn't better, so I went to my doctor to a follow-up, and they did a strep test, and I had strep. So I had undiagnosed strep that lasted for, I didn't get any antibiotics, so I got a big shot in my butt, which really hurt. And my sister laughed at me a lot because I walked out holding my butt and going, oh. Anyway, so I was like, okay, well, I just gotta wait to get better. And I waited, and I still, like, I could tell, like, the throat pain had gone kind of away, but, so I went back to the doctor. It was probably after the new year, and they did a mono test, which took forever to come back. I don't know why. Could probably look it up. And I had started my first semester, or my last semester of my bachelor's degree. And I was still super sick. I was losing tons of weight. I was down to 100 pounds, which I already have I have a slight frame anyway. Actually, I was down to like 99 pounds, and so I was really small. And the doctor actually, when I walked out of the room, the doctor actually asked my sister and my stepmom if I was anorexic, and they were like, no, because I come from a family that's small, and we get asked if we're anorexic a lot, just because we're small, and so it's kind of like offensive to us a lot of times, but it was sweet for him to ask, I think, because, doctors need to ask. So they were like, well, go home and rest, we'll have to wait for these tests. And so I was trying to still finish my last semester. So I had gone like a week of school, and it was like it was the most hardest, it was hard, so hard. Just trying to work, and luckily my job knew that I was sick with something, and so they were pretty lax on me. But I just knew that if I didn't get better, I couldn't continue like this, because it was like I'd go to class and I'd just be in so much like aches and pains and fever, and like they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. So I had missed a lot of classes, but I did go to a lot also. And then I finally got the diagnosis of mono, the Epstein-Barr virus. And so sorry, I get brain fog a lot. So you'll see me like sit here and trying to think of the words, but I'm not stupid. It's this condition that I have. Anyway, so I got the diagnosis, and I was like, what do I do? And the doctor suggested, you just need to rest. And I'm like, I'm in my last semester of schooling. What do I do? So I was like, well, it's okay. I'll take the semester off, and I'll do summer classes and fall classes and just finish up then. So I thought mono takes months to get over. So it was best if I didn't keep pushing myself, because I already pushed myself pretty much to the limit. Anyway, so that was one of the hardest decisions of my life, is actually deciding to quit school, because college was a big, important, that was a big goal of mine. One of my biggest goals is to get my bachelor's degree. And it was really hard because I was so sick, and so I just you know what, I just have to stop. So I quit school, and I got a doctor's note and got, my tuition refunded, which was good. And funny enough, that's the first time I heard chronic fatigue, is when the doctor wrote on my note I had Epstein-Barr / chronic fatigue, and I was like, that's interesting. So I went, and I just slept for I feel like I slept the whole semester off. I don't remember much of what I did in January or February. In March, I felt like I was probably getting a little better, maybe 10% back to my normal self. And I was like, well, what am I going to start doing? I didn't have a job. I was worried. We were just dipping into savings. Me and my husband, he was still working and working on his bachelor's degree at the time. So I was I decided to start selling Mary Kate, which I don't think was a very good decision, because it's a lot of work if you want to do it as a business, but I thought I was getting better. So I put a lot of my energy into that, which I probably shouldn't have. Probably should have continued working on just getting better. But I'm not that kind of person to just sit and not do anything. Which is hard for me. So, and then when I started doing that, at the very beginning I got Bell's palsy, which my body was telling me, you need to stop this. Just slow down and take it. So Bell's palsy is when half of your nerve, let's see, it was this side, so it's opposite for the camera, that all my nerves got damaged and just went dead. I had and you can still see, see how my smile's not quite up. My dad called me Elvis lip. And so this face was dead. Half my face was dead. And it was really weird, because even you don't think your muscles in your nose, how they work, but yeah, it was dead. And so I went to the emergency room, and I was like, half my face is dead. And then I actually had Bell's palsy when I was back in 2nd grade, so when I figured out, I think probably what it was is I wasn't freaking out on the way to the emergency room, because it could be a stroke, and so they took me immediately back, even though there was a ton of people waiting there, because they're like, oh my gosh, there's 20-something-year-olds having a stroke on us. They found out it's Bell's palsy. I got on an antiviral and a steroid, which helped with the Bell's palsy. It was several weeks before I got anything back. My ear, I still have a lot of ear pain, nerve pain and stuff. So I had a really awesome ear, nose, and throat doctor. So Dr. Blotter here in Logan, he's amazing. Anyway, he was super sweet and super nice, and got everything mostly functioning back to normal. And during this time, I kept going back to my normal doctor, and it was just, you know, nothing can be done. You probably have chronic fatigue, chronic fatigue, chronic fatigue. Nothing can be done. Oh, it was so annoying to like start to do that. So I just kind of was like, what am I doing with my life? So fall comes around and I'm still not, as I said, I'm like 10% better from maybe 15, because when you first have mono, you're just seriously sleeping all the time. I wasn't sleeping all the time, but I definitely didn't have any energy. I was still in a lot of pain at times, and so fall comes and I'm just like, I gotta finish school. I can't just not finish. You know, I have one semester left, 15 credits. So I go in and talk to my advisor and tell her what's going on. And so we adjust things around, and I took one class in the fall, and it was super hard. Like, it wasn't even see, it was even a simple class. It was just, it's called Art Symposium, and I go to a bunch of art events and I write papers on them. So I had probably one art event to go to each week, and I had a lot of plays that I went to, which you think would be fun, but when you're sick and you're sitting in chairs and it's a 2-hour play, you're just like, oh my gosh. So a lot of my papers actually read just complaining, but I got A's on it because I think the teacher was like everyone was like, oh, this performance is so awesome, and I'm just talking about how like, oh my gosh, the guys were so sweaty, could they at least change their shirts in the middle of, you know, performing this clog routine? It was weird because I was just, you know, grumpy and fed up with being not sick. Anyway, so I think the teacher maybe liked my other points of view. So I did that. And I know this is a long story. Stick with me if you want to or not. That's why I do videos, so you don't have to. Yeah. Anyway, so spring semester comes, and a lot of I feel like it was easier on me to go to class than, it was still really hard because I'd go to class in the morning and then I'd come home and sleep like the rest of the day, but I was like, I need to get this done. This was like a goal in my life. So I had, I think, 2 classes, and I didn't talk to the teachers, but the teachers they're like higher up professors, and they had like a lot of their own research going, and I didn't want them to worry about this. So I talked to the TAs, and they were, you know, like easygoing, not easygoing, like I didn't not do the work. It was just like some of the labs, they were like, you need to come stand there, and I'd be like, sorry, I can't really stand that long, so just ignore me if I'm sitting in the corner. I promise I'm listening. And I had a grass, it was a really fun class, turf grass management class, and I did talk to the teacher for him because I felt like he was more connectable, can connect with the students more. I don't know. He had a stutter, which I think, like, after the first like day or two, you don't even notice. Like, you're just like, meh. So, and so I felt like, I don't know, he could be more understanding, and he really was. And I just told him what was going on, and I was like, if there's like hot days in the class, I'm just gonna be laying on the grass. I'll still listen to you. And he's like, oh yeah, sure. We won't do anything like crazy like that. And so, and so it was an okay semester. Like, I had biology, plant physiology, and turf grass management, which I loved. Well, I loved both of the classes, but, and I met some good people in there, and I'm friends with them on Facebook. I don't talk to them much, but I still they're cool. Anyway, I say anyway a lot. During this time, still going to the doctor, chronic fatigue, nothing you can do about it. Kept testing for mono, and the mono is still in my system, trying to get over it, whatever, but I didn't know what to do. So, but I was kind of concentrating on school, so I guess, the doctor said there's nothing that I can do, so I just figured, well, I'll just keep living life, and I had this in my mind that I'll just keep slowly getting better, even though I wasn't really progressing. So but the main goal in my mind was to finish school first, and I didn't think I was hurting my health at the time. Well, I probably wasn't at the time. I think I should have not done the whole Mary Kay thing at the very beginning. I quit that not long into that because I'd have to go to these meetings and they were all like, hurrah, hurrah, stand up and cheer. And I'm like, again, I'll stand up and cheer. Don't even think about making me stand up and cheer. Anyway, I still like Mary Kay. I love their makeup, so nothing against the makeup or anything. And if you're a stay-at-home wife or stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home anything, it's actually, it's a good job that you can work at home. But you have to work at it. That'll be another video, maybe, yeah. Finish my story, my long story. So summer comes around and I'm like, well, see, I can't even remember what I did that summer. I know I just was like, okay, it's summer break. I'm just gonna relax and not worry about school until the fall because I still had 2 more classes to take before I could graduate. And so I just, kind of like tried to do some research about chronic fatigue, trying to get better, just relaxing, trying. And still in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get better from this. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. Like, it was like no doubt in my mind that I was going to get fully recovered. So, I could probably look back at my blog and see what I did that summer of 2009. I know we go to Yellowstone every year, so I did do that, but I mean, the Yellowstone trip is pretty relaxing. My husband would go hike and do whatever, and I just sit in the cabin and read books. So I did read a lot of books, listened to a lot of books, crocheted a lot. And then fall comes around and I start back in the school routine. And I had it was kind of like another plant physiology class, but not focusing, it was more focusing on the cells. And like, we did a lot of labs where we cut up the plants and looked at them under microscopes and dyed them. It was really fun. I don't remember the name of the class. I'm sure I had another class, I just can't remember. It doesn't stick out in my mind as much. I actually think it was another biology class. I just had a harder time with biology classes. Was it? Ugh. See, I don't even remember. Anyway, so I finished and I got my degree. Yay! So my degree was in a field that I can't even work in really because it's a planty field. Well, I mean I could. The long name is ornamental horticulture. With a little bit of it doesn't say on my degree, but I feel like I had an emphasis in design, the landscape design process, because I started in the landscape architect program before I got all sick, like 3 years before this. And I started a whole year in the landscape architect program, and then I took several design classes. And I actually would love to go back and get my second bachelor's in, or an emphasis. I don't know if they'd accept a second bachelor because it's so like mixes in with what I got. I'd only need 1 more class to actually have got that landscape design class, or the landscape design degree. So, and the class was actually just using the computer program, the landscape design, because I talked to a bunch of my friends. So, and I do landscape design on the computer a lot. So I don't feel like I would need it. It would be fun, because sounds like a fun class, but, anyway. And so after that, it was like, what do? I'm still not better enough to try to I didn't even try to look for a job because it was like, I was so still sick that I couldn't even work in my field. I've always wanted to own my own greenhouse. I couldn't do that. I wanted to landscape design and be in charge of a crew and tell them to, what to do, and couldn't do that. There's a lot of jobs that you could work for Utah State through their programs and stuff with their weed management, and there's a lot of different opportunities I could have taken, but I couldn't because I was so sick. I couldn't do any of it. So I didn't know what to do. So that starts I need to get better. So I start doing a lot of research, and I start going to holistic doctors, and I start wasting my money on all of these things. Another vlog post. And it's just, that was 8 years ago. So I think I kind of come to the realization that I'm maybe not going to be getting better. Because I want kids, but that's the main reason I haven't had kids is because I can't take care of myself. So how am I going to take care of kids? Why? That seems selfish of me to just go and get pregnant without thinking about how I'm going to actually like care for my kids. I still plan on having a kid or two someday, but I have an amazing husband who will help me, and I have lots of family members that said they will help me. My older sister and my younger sister. But my older sister, she's like one of those like loves babies. She has 5 kids and she would love to have more if, you know, her circumstances would allow it. So I just plan on like being like, hey, I'm gonna move next to you. And then she's like, well, if you have a baby, plan on never seeing it because it's gonna be mine. And I'm like, but it's my baby. So anyway, long story for that another vlog post. But so several years in, I mean, I get depressed. I just don't know what to do. And then I finally found a doctor, an actual doctor, not a holistic doctor. Nothing against holistics. It just didn't work for me. Okay. That is a chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia doctor. And so I went there and finally got an official diagnosis of the MECFS. So mostly it's been trial and error of what I'm doing and what to do to help lessen my symptoms and she's said this several times, which is exactly, I like doctors that are just blunt. They had to be empathetic, but still like blunt, you know, like, oh, we can fix this. No, but that's not the case because she's like, there is no cure, but I'm here to help with the symptoms. And she's also does a whole research facility. So her, like, it's really awesome because her facility is half doctor, other half research. So half the time I go down there, they're like, hey, do this research trial and we'll pay you $50, you know, for your time. And I'm like, okay. So I go down there and it's nice to feel like that I can actually like contribute to the CFS community because I'm, you know, giving my blood for research and stuff. So that's my story. That's where I am today. I mean, it's just basically it's an everyday, just have to see how I feel, and I know a lot of people don't understand, but that's why I'm gonna be making these vlogs. So yeah, thank you for listening, and goodbye.